I've been sitting on this video for a little bit because I have done a video on the structure deck polls and the credit card poll that OCG and TCG did back in 2019, 2020, and 2021. The only one that I didn't do was the poll for the Collection Pack 2020 because I forgot to add that to one of my spreadsheets. Now, one of the things about this is that the Collection Pack 2020 gave us cards like Jim Crocodile Cook's Fossils, Spectre's Sun Avalon, Yako Tenma's Wicked God support like Divine Evolution, I think it is, and Skid Barlow's Wheel with Combat Wheel that was just released in Maze of Millennia, Animation Chronicles 2023. Now, one of the things I do want to note about that card specifically, that is the last 5D Synchro Monster to be printed from the 5D's anime, so they're going to be having to dig a big hole on that one since they have to find other things to print. But this poll was very interesting because it had so many unique things in here, and I don't want to spend about an hour talking about all the cards because it will take me an hour to talk about all the cards. This poll had decks from the Shepherd, which is drones, Alice with the doll parts, you had Sergei Volkov with Thorn Prisoner, Jean-Claude Magnum's Ninja archetype, Familiar of Red with Yomi, Fortuno with Shaman, Caswell Francis with Debugger, and Skip Boyle with Gut Masters. And these 8 archetypes actually fill up, oh, I don't know, this is about, I'm looking at 67 cards total. Could be a little more, could be a little less, but there's quite a bit of cards that these could have been, and we could see these in the future because so far they've been giving those super slowly. Same with support and the cards from the structure deck polls and credit card poll. Now, I wish I could cover all of this in one video in depth. I might go back to this and cover all the archetypes that are in here, be like a part 1, 2, and 3, to go over the strategy of what the deck does and how the deck plays. But let's get into it, and I think the first thing we're going to do is talk about the, I would have to say the Gut Master stuff. So Gut Masters were ran by Skip Boyle. They are a small series of 4 cards that are Fire Warrior based, where they both share the same effect for the 2 monsters, Heat and Fire, where once per turn you can special summon a Guts Master monster from your hand. Now, Fire is each turn, the first other attack position Gut Master monster you control would be destroyed is not destroyed by battle, and then Heat is when another Gut Master monster you control is targeted for an attack. You can target the attacking monster to destroy it after damage calculation. So realistically, the goal of the deck is to summon out as many Gut Masters as you can, so you can kind of stop your opponent from doing stuff. Next up, we have Exchanging Notes, which is just a pot of greed, and if you do, add them to your opponent's hand. Then you look at your opponent's hand and add 2 cards from their hand to your hand. So you're drawing 2, put those 2 into your opponent's hand, then you take 2 cards from their hand. And then if a monster was exchanged by this effect, they cannot be normal or special summon this turn. Also skip the turn's battle phase. Card exchanged by this effect are returned to their owner's hand during the end of this turn. So realistically, you could snatch a couple hand traps, so you could do your whole combo pretty broken. And then finally, Full Throttle Soul. While you control a Gut Master monster, each player must play with their hands revealed. If this card leaves the field, destroy all cards you control. So it has an upside and downside, so it's kind of like, I'm trying to remember one of the cards that say, during your turn, you play with your hand revealed. During your opponent's turn, they play with their hand reveal. Kind of like I think it's like Ceremonious Bell type deal. So it's a very interesting little archetype. And they can add so much more to it. And that would be pretty cool. After that, we have the debuggers being X, Y, and Z. These were, I believe, Zexal because, well, we have Crashbug X, Y, Z. These were the polar opposites of what they are. And they're all the exact same. You normal summon X, you can summon Z, but you have to control Y. If you normal summon Y, you can special X, but you have to have Z on the field. And Z is summon Y, but you have to control X. So realistically, it's all right. Next is the Thorn Prisoners. They are a deck that deals with burning your opponent with Thorn counters on cards, and realistically, it's very unique. So when this is target for an attack, you can reveal Thorn Prisoner monster from your hand, pay 400. You take no battle damage from that battle, and at the end of the damage step, you special summon this and the other Thorn Prisoner that you revealed, so you realistically have 2 monsters for free. Then we have Darlie, which is when an attack is declared on another Thorn Prisoner monster, pay 400 and negate it. So it's just battle protection, so if you have multiple Darlies on the field, you can just be negate all the attacks that you can if your opponent doesn't have outs. Then we have Zuma, which is their synchro monster. When it's synchro summoned, it places thorn counters on all monsters on the field. While this card is on the field, monster with thorn counters cannot attack. Also, during each player's end phase, the turn player takes 400 damage for each thorn counter on the field. So realistically, you have to be playing cautiously with some of these, as I think you have to try and quick synchro into this some way, somehow. When this card is targeted for an attack, while all of the monsters that were used for synchro summon are in the graveyard, pay 400. Then target all those monsters, you take no battle damage, and at the end of the damage step, you special summon all those targets and this card in attack position. So realistically, you go Vaughn and Darlie into this. They attack Zuma, you go effect, and then you summon all 3 out, which is pretty crazy. Then we have the boss monster, which is this card becomes double the deficit between your life points and 2,500. And once per turn, pay 100 life points, target a monster your opponent controls. That attack of that monster becomes 100 till the end phase. So realistically, a powerful boss monster. And then Thorn, once during the end phase, the turn player takes 400 damage for each Thorn counter on the field. So realistically, if there's 20, that is game. And if a Thorn counters leave the field, you take 100 for each. And if there's no Thorn counters, just destroy this card. So realistically, Thorn Prisoners, a very, very interesting deck. Debugger 2 and Gut Masters as well. I think the next one I want to go over are like the Shamans, because they're very interesting since they also include Battle Guard, which is very weird because Shaman Battle Guard, but this isn't really part of the Shaman archetype, I don't think, because we have things like Rainbow Shaman, Orange Shaman, Green Shaman, and Red Shaman, along with Shaman Call. And realistically, it's just if your opponent controls a monster, including the Exceed, you can special summon this card from your hand. Very good at level 7. When your opponent normals or special summons an effect monster, you can special summon a Shaman from your hand. You can activate a spell card, summon a Shaman from hand, and activate a trap, summon a Shaman from hand. Very clear, concise with that. And then Shaman Call, if you control 2 or more spellcaster monsters with 0 attacks, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Shaman monster from your deck. So realistically, you're getting these 3 out super, super quickly. After that, let's take a look at the Ninja cards. So Ninja is a thing from John Claude Magnum from Duel Monsters, which is Ninja Soldier Katana and Konoichi Ayami, the Ninja Girl, along with Ninja Master Shogun, Bat the Forest Ninja. I don't think this is one of them because that's a tuner, so we're gonna leave that one out. Ninja Commander Kabuki, Ninja Commander Ikusa, Great Kite of the Ninja, and Ninja Smokeball. So let's talk about these. Well, apparently we have 2 normal monsters with 400 and 300 attack. So realistically, Already off to an interesting start, but you can run Unexpected Die and Painful Decision. Pretty good already. We have Ninja Master Shogun. This card can only be summoned while Ninja Commander Ikusa and Ninja Soldier Katana is in your graveyard. When this card is summoned, you can special summon one Ninja Soldier Katana and Commando Kabuki from your deck in face-up defense and face-up attack position. So already you're getting 2 free monsters, and those monsters are Kabuki. When this card is summoned in a face-up attack position, you can special summon one Konuchiya Ayame, the Ninja Girl, which I believe that's a different one. Oh no, that is this card right here. Very long name. From your hand, and then when this card is summoned in face-up attack, you can special summon one Ninja Soldier Katana from your hand. So realistically, this one summons out the level 3 normal monster, this one summons out the level 2 normal monster. So when you go Shogun, you summon out Kabuki and Ikusa, and then you just summon out 2 more from your hand. So this deck might have a lot of potential when it if ever comes to the TCG. You also have Great Kite. Equip only to Ninja Master Shogun. Negate all other spell and trap card effects that target the equipped monster. It cannot be targeted for an attack. You contribute 1 monster except the equipped monster. The equipped monster can attack directly. So you realistically have a 1600 attack monster going at your opponent's life points constantly until they can get rid of this card. Also, this card is always treated as a sky card and never a ninja card. Very weird. And then finally, Ninja Smoke Bomb. During your opponent's battle phase and the battle phase. This card might be a fun gimmicky card that they can turn into super powerful of a card. Now, after that, let's go on to the Yomi stuff, because the Yomi is super short and simple. We have Yomi Ruler Mikalankolful, Yomi Guardian, Yomi Kid, Boat Watchman, and Guidance. Now, realistically, this is just to get this out by banishing 3 Yomis from your graveyard. Cannot be normal or set, it must be special summoned this way. Once per turn, you can destroy one other face-up card your opponent controls and inflict 600 damage to your opponent. Already pretty good. Then you also have a Yomi Guardian. When it's destroyed, inflict 800 damage to your opponent. You must go to the grave. All 3 of them have that. So no matter how they're destroyed, you inflict 800 damage to your opponent, as long as they hit the graveyard. And if this is destroyed during the battle phase, you can end that battle. If this card is destroyed, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Or no, all monsters you control. This card blows up your stuff, so it can trigger your cards. So that can be very useful. You have Watchman, which is when your opponent declares an attack, you can target 1 Yomi monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So constantly getting into a monster to save your life points type deal. And then you have Guidance to the Abyss, which is if there's exactly 2 Yomi monsters in your graveyard, special summon 1 Yomi from your deck. So get to one of the ones that you're missing. I think after that, we're going to be talking about the doll parts. If you don't like dolls or creepy things, you could skip ahead to the last archetype, because there's only 2 left. And we have the doll parts. We have doll part gold, doll part blue, pink, and red, and doll chimera. We also have Alice the Wandering Doll, Marionette Burial, Cursed Dollhouse, Door to Mirrorland, and Necro Dollmeister, with finally release Cursed. So doll parts are an interesting deck that was ran by Alice in, I believe, the GX anime. And this is one of the ones that people kind of really want the most of, because how unique they are. The doll parts, cool, 0/0, 0/0, they're all 0/0 spellcasters, but they all are used for this. Marionette Burial, activate only when you control a face-up Alice the Wandering Doll. Send 1 face-up doll blue, doll red, doll gold, and doll pink you control to the graveyard, special summon doll chimera from your deck. And Doll Chimera is realistically an interesting card. It gains 400 attack for each doll part monster in your graveyard. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can send 2 doll part monsters from your deck to the graveyard, special summon this card. So realistically, you keep buffing it up after sending 4, and then you buff it up again. So after the first buff that you do, if it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you're going to be up to a grand total of 2400 attack on one monster, which is very powerful. Now, Alice the Wandering Doll is when this card is targeted for an attack, inflict 500 damage to opponent, and switch this card. And switch control of this card at the end phase, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. So, realistically, you just have it in defense position like a Marshmallow. Gets flipped face up. Cool. It's there, then it gives to your opponent during the end phase, so you have a clear board. Now, we have Cursed Dollhouse. When your opponent takes control of an Alice the Wandering Doll you control, you can special summon 1 doll part monster from your deck. Now, this is a field spell. Honestly, it's pretty good. Then we have Door to Mirrorland. Activate only if Alice the Wandering Doll is in your graveyard. You can special summon 1 Ishla the Lovely Bisque Doll from your hand or deck, which I don't have in this right now. And it's just this. This card gains 1000 attack for every 4 doll part monsters in your graveyard with different names. So if you have, I think it's 4 different, like all of your doll parts in the graveyard, all 16 of them, this thing's gonna be a big beat stick. A very big beat stick along with Chimera. So that's one thing to look out for. We have Necrodollmeister, being when a doll part monster you control is destroyed by battle. Special summon 2 doll parts monsters from your deck in face of attack position. That's very powerful, being able to summon 2 doll parts from your deck. We have Release Curse. When an Alice the Wandering Doll is destroyed, destroy all cards on the field, and if you do, inflict 300 damage to their owner for each card destroyed. So it's like a Chaos Emperor Dragon, but for field. So that is actually very interesting of a deck that we could get in the future. But finally, I think this is the one that a lot of people have been waiting for. This is the archetype that was ran by, sorry about that. This is the archetype that is the Shepherds, being drones. There are 25 cards to this deck. And this is super, super big. Now, if you don't know, drones are a deck from Brains, and this deck has Link Summoning. It doesn't have Link Summoning, it also has Synchro Summoning, and it also has Fusion Summoning. So realistically, there is quite a bit to go over. So Drone Corporal is just, it can attack directly, but when it does, the battle damage is halved. Once while face up on the field, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, quick effect, negate that effect, also negate. Neither player can target this card with card effects for the rest of the turn, and you can only use this effect once per turn. So a quick effect, negate when cards or effects that are activated that target this card. So it stops Imperm, I guess. Drone Asteroid. When your opponent monster declares an attack, send this card from your hand to the graveyard, negate the attack. Then you summon out a drone token up to the number of monsters your opponent controls. So if they have 5 monsters, you discard this. 5 tokens. There you go. Not once per turn either. We have Scud Drone. If you control a drone monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. If this card is special summoned from the graveyard by the effect of a drone monster, you could draw 1 card. Also banish this card when it leaves the field. This stuff looks super solid already, and I'm going to go over each and every card because they're that special. We have Drone Carrier. When this card is special summoned by the effect of a drone monster, target a drone monster in your graveyard, special summon it. And this is one of your tuners, so realistically you're using Carrier and Scud to go into your big Synchro monster. And then we have Drone Pawn. Being, if you control no other monsters, it gains the following effects: cannot be destroyed in battle, and at the end of the battle phase, if this card was attacked, gain life points to the battle damage received from those attacks. So you just have this face down on your board, they attack into it. Oh, cool, it's the only monster, cannot be destroyed by battle. That's actually really funny. And then Duplicate Drone. If you control a duplicate drone, you can special summon this card from your hand. You target one non-machine monster you control, place it face up in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. You can only use that effect once per turn, and you can target one monster card you control that is treated as a continuous spell while it is in the spell and trap card zone. The name, type, attribute, level, and attack defense of this card becomes that same card. So it's a copy effect for a monster that's a continuous spell card in the spell and trap card zone. Very, very interesting, but destroy this card when that card leaves the field. Huh. So a Cosmic Cyclone just kills this card. Okay. But realistically, you're putting one of your cards that you're running with this into the spell and trap card zone that is not a machine monster. So it's very interesting. So you're running Cybers with this, I would presume. So far, this stuff looks really strong. I haven't read these cards before. We have Drone Force Tuning. This card's activation and effects cannot be negated. You immediately Synchro Summon using one Synchro monster. You Synchro Summon one Synchro monster using monsters you control, including a drone monster that did not inflict battle damage this turn. And if you do, it gains this effect. This card's effect cannot be negated. So you're forcing to go into this, the level 6. And it shows you the 3 cards that you should be using to go into that Synchro monster, being Drone, Carrier, and Scud. Those 3 specific cards. Or it could be Asteroid. But it's very powerful. We have Drone Force Fusion, which is the exact same thing, but you fusion summon using monsters you control, including a drone monster, and if you do, it gains this effect. It cannot be destroyed by card effects, so you're going into Fortress Drone Beehive, and the other one's Command Drone Double Sniper. We also have Blitz Drone, which is if a drone monster is special summoned from your graveyard, you contribute one of those monsters, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the attributed monster on the field. You can only use that effect once per turn. Random burn card. Okay. We have Drone Unity. During the damage calculation, if your drone monster is attacked by your opponent's monster, you can have that drone monster's attack becomes equal to the total of all drone monsters you control during that damage calculation only. You contribute one drone monster, draw a card. Tribute to draw. That could be very useful. So if you can get one of them out by special summon, you can go effect, tribute, draw one, just to draw a card. Cool. Drone Launcher Unit. Equip only to a drone monster you control. Your opponent's monster cannot target the equipped monster with their effects. Once per turn, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the combined link rating of all monsters on the field times 100. So with this deck, you're most likely going to get 800 if you have all 4 links out on the board. Assemble Drone. Activate this by targeting a drone link monster in your graveyard. Special summon it and equip it with this card, so it's a monster reborn, a living fossil. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. Premature Burial. The equipped monster gains 500 attack. Also cannot declare an attack while you control Drone Pawn. Really? So that's fine, because you're probably just going to reborn this, link this, and pawn away to summon out a link higher. A rating higher. Interesting. And finally, we have Mirror Coat Unit. Equip only to a drone monster. Your opponent takes any battle damage that you would take instead. And they're level 4 or lower monsters. Cool. So your opponent just takes damage you would have taken from attacks involving the equipped monster, and they're level 4 or lower monster instead. Only level 4 or lower. That's fine. Kind of. If the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle, destroy this card instead, and if you do, the equipped monster's controller takes no damage, battle damage from that battle. Pretty good. When this face-up card leaves the field, you can return you can return to the hand the monster that was equipped to it, and if you do, add one monster with the same name from your deck to your hand. That's really useful, getting out another copy of a card that you need to your hand. Probably something like a drone asteroid could be useful there. Demolition drone, tribute 1 drone, have all battle damage you take this turn. Drone corridor. Is that an equip trap? That's an equip trap. Activate this card if you control a drone link monster. Your opponent cannot target drone monsters you control with card effects. Also, your opponent's link monsters cannot attack. Oh, that would have been useful back in Master Roll 4. Would have been useful. Capture drone. If you control a drone monster, activate this card by targeting one link monster your opponent controls. Negate that effect of that monster while it's on the field. Also, cannot be tributed or be used as a link material. That card's crazy. Kind of. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. Your opponent link monsters cannot attack. So realistically, I think all the trap cards would have that effect. Well, some of them. Once per turn during your main phase, you can special summon 1 drone token, machine wind. Okay, just summons out a level 1 wind machine token up to the targeted link monster link rating. So in current Yu-Gi-Oh, you could summon up to 5 tokens. That's really, really powerful. We have Camouflage Drone. Destroy this card during your opponent's next end phase. After activation, drone monsters cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target them with card effects. That's a powerful trap card, but it's not a trap card. Drone Barricade. It's realistically, your opponent monsters cannot attack directly. Your opponent monsters cannot target spell and trap cards on the field, except this one with card effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets his face-up card, you can banish this card, set 1 Drone Barricade from your deck, and it cannot be activated. It can be activated this turn. I activate my Cosmic Cyclone. Chain Drone Barricade, banish it to set a Drone Barricade, activate the new barricade. That's crazy. I see why people want this stuff. We have Snatch Drone. I think this is a drone card because I think it is. Activate this card by targeting 1 face-up card in your opponent's spell trap card zone. Negate its effects, and if you do, destroy that card. Negate the effects of all cards with the same name. If this was a drone card, that could be very useful in some certain situations. But let's get into the extra deck because I want to round out this video. We have Fortress Drone Beehive, which takes 2 or more drones. If it's fusion summoned, you can place drone counters on cards equal to the total level of drone monsters used for this card's fusion summoning. You can remove any number of drone counters from this card, special summon any token, an equal amount of drone tokens. And this card gains 1,000 attack for each one you control. You're telling me if this was legal, if this stuff was legal, we can summon 2 of these and have 2 4K beat sticks. It also has 3,000 defense. That's strong. We have Command Drone Double Sniper, takes 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuners. Okay. Each time a card or effect is activated, that would negate an attack or card effect. Place 1 drone counter on this card after that effect resolves. Infinite drone counters. While 1 or more drone counters are on this card can make a 2nd attack during each battle phase. Also can attack directly, but when it does using this effect, the battle damage becomes 1,000, so half the attack. When your opponent activates a monster effect while there are 2 drone counters on this card, quick effect, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card, and if you do, inflict 1,000 to your opponent. Multiple Omni Negate. No, multiple Monster Negate. That is quite strong. And burns for 1,000 each time. Who are you, Photon Strike Bouncer? Now, finally, let's get into the Link monsters, the cards I've been waiting to read. We have Battle Drone Sergeant. It just takes a drone monster. Okay, if your drone monster inflict battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, except this card, you can activate this effect. This card can attack directly this turn, but if another monster attacks, this card cannot declare an attack for the rest of this turn. You have 100 attack. I don't think... No, you have 800. I don't think you're gonna be doing much. Then we have Medic Drone Dock, being 2 drone monsters. If another drone monster destroys a battle card effect, you make either player gain life points equal to that monster's original attack. Very nice, could be used for time. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can make either player gain 1,000 life points. Only each effect once per turn. Cool. We have a Battle Drone Warrant, being 2 drone monsters except tokens. Right. This one is except tokens, but the others are... You could use the tokens. That's strange. During your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you control no monsters in your main monster zone, special summon this card. I see why. 1200 attack, Link 2. Doesn't really do much. Then we have Battle Drone General. This is the big boy. Being 2400 attack, Link 3. 2+ drone monsters. Once per turn, you can target 1 drone monster in your graveyard, special summon it to a zone this card points to. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can target 1 level 4 or lower drone monster you control with 1,000 attack or less. They can attack directly this turn. If your drone monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you contribute that monster and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack that monster had on the field. So realistically, when you're telling me, if I have this and this with 4 tokens on the field, and I go, oh, I'm going to attack for 24 and 4,000. Then I use the effect to tribute to burn for 4,000. I see why people wanted these drone cards in the first place, because this deck is very, very unique to what it is, and it could be very, very strong. Overall, those were all the cards from the entire 8 decks, and I said I wasn't going to go over them, but I went over all of them. How do we get here in the first place? But I want to know which of these decks you think should come to the TCG OCG first. But I hope you guys did enjoy me rambling on talking about these decks, because this was one of the other polls that we were just waiting on. And honestly, ending on drones was a good idea, because this deck definitely delivers. I hope we get this in Animation Chronicles and the premium pack for this year, because that would be very cool, having them split up into multiple places, and then TCG just combine them all together for one full release. But anyways, I have been Bolt Spider. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. But anyways, see you all in the next video.